everybody, welcome to Simple Hobby Homesteading. I'm Jenna and tonight we are having Taco Tuesday. Are you watching this video on any day other than a Tuesday? Okay, that's not allowed. Well, I shouldn't say that because if you're watching it on Wednesday, I want you to watch it still so then you can be ready for the next Tuesday. But if it's not a Tuesday, just take that with a grain of salt. It's not a Tuesday, so it can't be your Taco Tuesday. Can't have tacos on any other night other than Tuesday. It's what we do. Every Tuesday night here we have tacos with fresh salsa, fresh guacamole, and just amazing, amazing tacos. So tonight, the taco meat is pretty self-explanatory. We use turkey in our own seasoning, and I'll put the recipe for that seasoning down below in the descriptions. But,
so first of all, we are heating up about, I'd say that's about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil if you're doing turkey. Now we're doing ground turkey, I like this, 93% lean, 7% fat ground turkey. You can go leaner or you can have a little more fat if you want. And if you're doing beef, you don't need any oil in that skillet at all. Alright, that's oil heated up, so we're going to go ahead and put our turkey in. And we're just going to mush it up, chop it up, whatever you want to call it. Brown the turkey. Make sure you scrape the bottom of that pan real good with the turkey, because it will stick, and we can always add a little bit more olive oil if we need to. And now tonight I'm making 3 pounds of meat. And if you already have your salsas and your veggies chopped up and things like that, then you can put the heat on high and just hang out right here and keep chopping it and browning it. If you need to get some other things ready, then just put this heat on like a medium high, so that way you don't have to stir it as often. You can come back every few minutes and just give it a good chop and a good stir and work on your salsa and your veggies for taco night.
yes, I do. So a couple tips I do want to give you. First of all, the shells. If you use hard shells for your taco night, a really nice tip that my husband taught me years and years ago is to set your oven at 250 degrees and stick those taco shells in, and they can be in there for hours and hours and hours and they will not burn, and they come out perfectly crisp and amazing. So just stick them in there for 250 degrees and you don't have to worry about them burning. Usually the first thing I do is stick those shells in at 250, and then by the time I'm done making the meat, making the salsa, the guac, they're good to go. So we are going to actually, the thing I'm going to show you big time tonight is the salsa and the guacamole. And I'm going to show you a couple ways to cheat with that guacamole. People are often intimidated by making it, and you shouldn't be. It's easier than salsa. Once you have the salsa done, like a salsa fresca is what we're making tonight. Once you have that salsa done, then you've practically got the guacamole done. I'll explain. Failed to mention my shirt. Okay, this is my unicorn fancy shirt, and it makes me think that I'm a wizard. It reminds me of being a wizard. It's like my wizard shirt. I asked my son if like he has any clothing that reminds him of a wizard, and he said no. And I said, well, does this look like a wizard shirt? And he said, well, no. And then I asked my husband, and he said, yeah, totally looks like a wizard shirt. Reminds him of a wizard. So this is my wizard shirt, and it's really just silver unicorns, and I love it. So I just felt it needed a mention, a real solid mention. Alrighty, first of all, for each recipe you need about 3 or 4 tomatoes. And this is going to be about 2 cups of tomatoes when all is said and done. We've washed these first, and I'm simply going to cut these in half.
I like the vine-ripened tomatoes. I think those have the best taste. Alright, and then we're just going to put the innards in our chicken bowl. So you just scoop out these innards with your finger. You want to try to get most of these innards out. The seeds and a lot of the juice. The chickens and the pigs love these innards.
Alright, so we're setting that aside. Now we're simply going to slice these into
strips. We're going to keep out that middle. And with the ones that don't have the big stem, like this has got the big stem, the ones that have just this little, we just chop that all up. We're going to cut this out. But on this one, it's just got the little one, and that's good. We're just going to get this middle out. Okay, that's got that stem. So we're going to cut around that. And then I'm just going to cut the end. Just the end. Just the end. And we're going to throw that in the chicken bowl. These are usually a little wide, so I'll cut those in half. Just a dice. Doesn't have to be too perfect.
Alrighty, remember how I said I'm loving limes? Well, thank goodness there's lime in salsa recipe. Now, if you pull these out of the fridge, a quick little tip is to take it and roll it to release all that juice. Alright, and we're just going to cut this in half. And if you're making a big batch of salsa, then you can put the whole lime in. If you're making a small batch of salsa, then you just need a half a lime. And this is a small batch of salsa, the one that we're making tonight. And then this other bowl is going to be for our guacamole. So we're going to go ahead and put the other half in our guacamole bowl. Just let that ride there for a minute. And these can go in the chicken bowl. And this is a really handy little juicer. But if you don't have one of these, then just simply use your hand. Limes, the seeds don't come out as easy as lemons, and so that's really handy. All right, let's add some heat, jalapenos. Now, most of the heat of jalapenos is actually in this pith and the seeds in there. So if you want, you can put all of that in there. I like to de-seed those. So we're simply going to cut those in half. Take a spoon, get our chicken bowl here. Take a spoon and just rake that down the middle of your jalapeno and get that right into the chicken bowl. They love jalapenos. Watch out you don't get any of that juice in your eye, otherwise you pepper sprayed yourself. That's no fun. Where did the other one go? There it is. And you get to decide how many jalapenos you use depending on how hot you like it. These are pretty big jalapenos, so we might do 2. We might do another one in that guacamole. We'll see. So then we cut this into matchsticks once again, just for a really easy dice. Takes 2 seconds. And if you're real sensitive to jalapenos, I would recommend putting on a pair of like just gloves or something like that. Latex gloves or something, or whatever kind of gloves they use now that are non-latex. I don't know. The surgical gloves. You can get a box of them pretty cheap, like, you know, a couple hundred for like a couple dollars. It's always handy to have a box of those. So we're going to put those in our salsa bowl. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's not nearly enough. We need maybe one more. We wash these ahead of time. My sons and my husband like it hot.
There we go, that's about right. And I don't know what it is about ground turkey, but I find if you can cook it in a shallow pan like this, where that juice can evaporate a lot quicker, it's less like turkey-y tasting. Does that make sense? When it's evened out like this on a big saute pan rather than like a smaller, deeper pot, it just, I don't know, it smells better, it tastes better, it tastes less poultry-y. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about, but it's true. I've tried it before in a pot, like a deeper pot when I made like bigger batches, and it just tastes off. It just tastes like too, not off, but it just tastes too turkey-y. So if you can get away with cooking it in kind of a shallow pan like this, where it's a little bit more spread out, I don't know, it's got a better taste. It just does. I don't know what's up with that. All right, now we need some red onion. Now red onions are the best onions to use in salsas and guacamoles. We're going to use our handy dandy chopper. And in the description is always links if you want to buy any of the tools that I use. Of course you don't have to, but this saves your eyes and makes quick work of onions. I use it several times a week. And this is dishwasher safe, so it goes in the dishwasher if you want. Okay, so we're going to scoop some of these into our salsa. I would say like about a quarter cup or so. And then the rest we are going to save for another salsa that I'm going to show you in a little bit. Alright, now on high heat it takes about 10-15 minutes at the most for, I should say, 3 pounds of turkey to brown well. If you're at a medium to high heat, of course it's going to take a little bit longer. And if you have less turkey, it's going to take a little bit shorter amount of time. So, yeah, so you just figure that out for yourself, right? And we know this is browned when we don't have any pink left and a lot of the moisture is gone from the bottom. So then it's time to add the seasonings. Now, of course, we've got Jenna's homemade taco seasoning. The recipe for that is in the description. And we're just going to add, I like to add 3 tablespoons per pound of meat. And yes, this seasoning can even make turkey taste good. If you like it a little less spicy, then just don't add as much seasoning. There we go. I think that's 9. I might have lost count. I think that was 9. Alright, so we've got our seasoning in there. Now it's time to add some water. So we're just going to add water till it comes just above the turkey meat. We're going to give that a little stir. And then we're going to cook this uncovered until almost all of that water is gone. And during this time, we've got our hard shells cooking in the oven at 250 degrees. Because remember, at 250 degrees, they will cook nicely and crunch up, but they will never burn. No matter how long you keep them in there, they will never burn at 250 degrees. And they'll come out perfect. So we're going to let this simmer down.
And if you want it done in a short amount of time, then just keep it on high and let it boil down. If you need to make your salsa or cut up your veggies or anything like that, and you haven't done that yet, then you can put this on a medium heat, and it'll take a little bit more time to get all that water out, evaporated, and it gives you time to make your salsa, guacamole, cut up your lettuce, do all your fun stuff. And if you notice it's splattering, if you have it on the high heat and it's splattering, you can just get a splatter shield. They sell them all over, like this is an example, just a little splatter shield that just goes on top so it doesn't splatter all over the back of my backsplash, all over my stovetop. And actually, I might leave mine on high, so I think I am going to leave that splatter shield on.
Alrighty, cilantro is next. Now what you want to do, you'll get a bunch of cilantro in the store or even out in your garden, the cilantro, and you want to try to get most of the heads off and the stems, kind of leave them behind, the thicker stems. We can chop up some of those thinner stems, but we don't want to get too many in there. So we're just going to do a little chopping. So you notice I just hold that down, just keep it on the cutting board and just chop around, chop around, chop around. Chop up, and get down. What song is that from? Oh, that Jump Around, back in the 90s. And you can use your food chopper for this. I forgot to tell you that. I already put mine in the sink in sudsy water. I forgot to hold it out for this, but this works. I mean, that food chopper that I used for the onions works super well for cilantro. I just stuck it in the soapy water and forgot. There we go, and we're done anyways. We'll put like a little handful of that in there, probably about a half a cup or so, depending on if you like cilantro. There's people out there that don't like cilantro. And we're going to save the rest of this for another salsa recipe that I'm going to show you in just a bit. Alright, now we need a little bit of salt. I just put probably about half a teaspoon or so. And salt it to your liking. A little bit of pepper. I just put probably about 1/4 teaspoon in there. There we go. And now we're going to take a break from our salsa for a moment. And I'll tell you why here in a second. And we're going to go right to our guacamole. Now when you pick out avocados, you're looking actually at the stem. You want that stem to be nice and brown and the avocado to give just slightly when you squeeze it. You don't want it to be super hard because then it's too firm and it's not going to work well for guacamole. It'll ripen up quickly at home for you, but it won't work that night for guacamole. So I just sliced that avocado in half. I'm going to take our spoon and I'm just going to scoop out that flesh, put it in our guacamole bowl. We're going to just avoid that little brown part there. Cannot give avocados to your chickens. And don't let your dogs get them either. They're going to get that pit out. To get that pit out, I just take the knife, get into it, and kind of push it out. I'll do it towards the camera with the next one. Once again. And when you're scooping out the insides, just make sure you don't scoop. If you get too close to that, you'll scoop that right out and into your guacamole. So we just kind of leave that top a little bit. And this is going to get thrown away with this. Let's do another one. See how that stem is nice and brown, and it just gently squeezes. Now, do not slice your avocado in your hand like that. I've seen so many people do that and cut the palm of their hand. Do it on a cutting board or on a plate or something like that, and save your hand. Save your hand. Oh, that's beautiful. This one's a little bit more firm, not as ripe as that other one, but it's still soft enough. All right, so let me show you this way so you can see me do it. We're just going to hit that with a knife, hit the knife into it, and just scoop it out. Come on, out. This one, like I said, this one's a little more firm. There we go. Now you tell me if any of you eat the pits of avocados. That was a big thing for a while. Everyone was eating the pits of avocados. They were shredding them and eating them. Let me know if you do that or did that. I can't remember what the benefits were even now. I never did it. But I know we had some crunchy mamas that did it, and I don't know, another bunch of folks. And that lemon juice that we put in there also helps to act as a non-browning agent, or it slows down the browning of the avocados, So we're going to just take and mash these up a minute. Just mash up those avocados. I like my guacamole a little chunkier, so I'm not going to mash them too much. There we go. Now we're going to go back to that salsa. Now the only thing that this salsa is missing is garlic. And garlic is the one thing that is usually not found in guacamole. So we haven't added the garlic yet to our salsa. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix up this salsa.
Salsa Fresca. Oh, it smells delicious. My whole house smells like salsa now. And when I do the next step, you're going to be mind blown. Just mind blown. It's the easiest way to make guacamole in the world. Once you've made salsa, you've practically got guacamole. Unless you're my oldest son who doesn't like tomatoes. Then we make a special batch of guacamole for him. Without tomatoes. Because, you know, those kids aren't going to be home forever, so once in a while I like to spoil them. Like every Tuesday night.
So we've got that nice and mixed up. Watch this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Guacamole, or actually it's not guacamole yet. Avocado and lime. 1 scoop. Half a scoop. Are you ready? Mix it up. Seriously, that's guacamole right there. It's really salsa fresca with avocado. That's all it is. Isn't that crazy? Did you know? Did you know? Oh, looks delicious. Absolutely delicious. And now, don't forget to go back to your salsa for a second. And we're going to add our garlic. Now you know how I love garlic? You can add too much garlic to salsa, and that makes it bad. It makes the whole family just smell like salsa or it makes the whole family smell like garlic for the next 2 weeks. 2 cloves of garlic for a recipe this size is all you're going to need. And if you don't like garlic, then just 1 clove. You have to have some garlic. It's got antiviral properties, antibacterial properties. It keeps your immune system healthy. So at least 1 clove of garlic. You know, meet me halfway. I'm going to put 2 in here because I do like garlic. My family does like garlic. I'm all about being healthy with the garlic. There we go, chicken bowl. So 2 small to medium cloves of garlic. And we're going to give that a stir. And folks, that salsa fresca is done, and it's ready to go on those tacos.
That easy. Oh, that was so easy. Maybe it was a wizard shirt. There it is. Maybe it was the wizard shirt that made it that easy. And now you're going to want to come over and stir it every once in a while. And when you're stirring it, just scrape along the bottom just to make sure there's none sticking to the bottom. See, now this is cooking on high, so you can see already that a lot of that moisture is gone. And it's just imparting the flavor into that meat super well. Now, if you find that you need more time to do your salsa or cut your veggies, or grandma called and you got caught up on the phone, just add some more water. If it starts getting to where it's getting dry and you need more time, either take it off the stove and cover it, or just add some more water and let it keep simmering down and boiling down. It'll buy you some time.
So as you can see, this meat is done. It's got just a little bit of moisture here at the bottom, but we're going to keep that in there When I get my meat, I like to use one of these slotted spoons. That way you can kind of drain some of that water out. But you want a little bit of moisture left in this meat if you're going to have leftovers. Because when you store it, you want to store it with a little bit of that liquid. In fact, just you pour the rest of these leftovers, liquid and all, into a container to store in the fridge. Because this turkey will dry out if there's, you know, no extra moisture in there when you store it for leftovers. So we want to have a little bit of this juice at the bottom, or water, whatever you want to call it, taco water, at the bottom. And that meat will soak it up a little bit too. So as we sit here and wait for everyone to get their stuff to eat. So there we go. Meat is so easy to be done. Alrighty, are you ready for another amazing taco tip? Lettuce. Please step away from the iceberg lettuce and branch out a bit with some nice leafy lettuce. And when you chop it up, you could even get some spinach in there and your family would never know that you are making them incredibly healthy. But just get some leafy lettuce like this, and like I said, throw some spinach in there. Kale might be taking it a little bit to the next level, but if you can sneak some kale in there, that'd be great. But it has a definite flavor, so they might seek you out on that. But we're just bunching that up and we're going to chop it up. And this, it takes your tacos to a whole nother level. And it's super healthy. These leafy lettuces are 100 times more healthy than that plain iceberg lettuce that it seems that everybody uses for taco night. That iceberg lettuce is nothing but water. I mean, honestly, there is hardly any nutritional value in it. And these lettuces are so easy to grow. You can grow these in pots, you can grow these in your backyard, and they can grow well into like the November time frame, sometimes even December if we have a mild winter. And then you can get them in the ground already in like March. I mean, February, sometimes late February, March. Grow your own lettuce. And if not, just buy the spring mix or the spinach mix. Arugula is a really nice lettuce. It's a peppery lettuce. So your kids might not like it, but I mean, oh, this is so good. I mean, look at this on top of your amazing tacos. All right, just when I thought that I had given you all of my taco tips, I remember there's another. Stop eating the pre-bagged shredded cheese. It has an anti-caking agent on it that it's like a powder almost that makes it so it doesn't cake together in the package. And though I can't totally testify, that's not a word. Though I can't totally testify that it's bad for you, I'm going to say it's not great for you, although I don't know if it's even harmful for you. But it doesn't taste as good as freshly shredded cheese. And it's actually cheaper to buy cheese in the block like this and shred it yourself. And nothing beats freshly shredded cheese on your taco. Oh, it's so good. I will say when you're shredding cheese, watch your knuckles when you get close to the end of a block of cheese. I remember once I was having a ladies' night out here, and I think we were making tacos, or no, it was fajita bites. And I started shredding some cheese, and a young lady had never seen freshly shredded cheese. She had never tasted it and never, you know, done it. And so it was just eye-opening for her, and I love that. I mean, when I can show someone a new way to do something, and it's so simple. I mean, it's absolutely simple. We just shred however much you want for the night. This is sharp, extra sharp cheddar. It's my husband's, and he doesn't eat a whole lot of it, so we're not going to shred a ton. And there, done. Really, that's the amount of time it would take me to pull that bag out of the freezer and get it out in a bowl. So, and it's 100 times better, 100 million times better. And then guess what you can store that cheese in when you're all done? A Ziploc bag. Look at that. Thank you everyone for joining me tonight for our Taco Tuesday. Dinner is done, cleanup is almost done, and I am stuffed and so happy. It is an actual blessing to have one night a week where I don't have to worry what we're having for dinner because I already know every Tuesday it's tacos. And every Tuesday my family is ecstatic that it's tacos. You all have a great night and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.